Have you ever stopped to think about the simple pleasures you're letting slip by day after day because society tells you to play it safe, act your age, and hold back? Life doesn't wait around for you, and those everyday joys, the ones you keep putting off, might not be there forever. In this video, we're diving into the top 5 guilty pleasures you need to indulge in now before it's too late. Stick around until the end, because you'll discover why these aren't just frivolous treats. They're essential for living a fuller, happier old age, and trust me, you don't want to miss the one regret most people wish they'd avoided sooner. Before we begin, I would appreciate it if you like this video, you can help me continue to spread the old age lesson. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. If you like this video, please comment number 1. If you don't like it, comment number 0 to let me know, so I can make a better video for you. Now let's get started. 5. Savoring the foods you love without the guilt. Let me ask you a question, a simple one, but one that might make you pause and think. How many meals have you eaten in your lifetime? Thousands. Surely. Tens of thousands, if you've been around long enough. Now, here's the harder question. How many of those meals did you truly, deeply savor? How many times did you sit down, take your time, and let each bite linger on your tongue, fully present in the moment, without even a whisper of guilt creeping in? If you're like most people, the answer is probably far fewer than you'd like to admit. Because here's the brutal truth. For decades, so many of us have been caught in a cycle of deprivation, self-denial, and quiet regret over the foods we love. We've pushed away the warm, crusty bread with a smear of butter. We've skipped the rich, velvety slice of chocolate cake. We've opted for the sad, wilted salad, dressing on the side, of course, when what we craved was a steaming plate of creamy pasta or a juicy burger stacked high with all the fixings. And why? To chase some fleeting, arbitrary standard of what we're supposed to eat? To shave off a few pounds that, in the grand scheme of things, mean next to nothing? It's time to call it what it is. Enough is enough. Picture this for a moment. One day, maybe sooner than you think, maybe later than you hope, your body will start drawing lines in the sand. Your doctor might sit you down with a stern look and a list of no mores. No more salt to season your fries, no more sugar to sweeten your coffee, no more crispy, golden fried anything because your heart or your stomach just can't take it anymore. Maybe your appetite will shrink to a shadow of what it once was, or your digestion will turn fickle, rejecting the foods you once devoured with glee. And when that day comes, you'll look back on all those moments you said, no, when you could have said, yes. You'll think about the birthday cake you skipped, the holiday feast you half-heartedly picked at, the bowl of ice cream you passed up, and you'll wish you'd just eaten it. You'll wish you'd let yourself feel the joy, the comfort, the sheer delight that food can bring. So why wait for regret to teach you that lesson? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should throw every ounce of caution out the window and start eating like a reckless teenager with a bottomless stomach and a metabolism to match. Moderation still matters. Balance still has its place. But what I am saying is this. It's time to rediscover the joy in your food. Food isn't just fuel. It's one of life's greatest, simplest pleasures. It's the thread that weaves through our most cherished memories. Think about it. What's at the heart of every holiday celebration, every birthday party, every late-night family gathering that spills into laughter and stories? It's the food. The roast turkey glistening on the table, the candles flickering atop a homemade cake, the bowl of your grandmother's secret recipe soup that somehow tastes like love itself. Food is a connection. It's tradition. It's happiness on a plate. And here's something else to chew on. The longest-living people in the world don't spend their days obsessing over calorie counts or punishing themselves for indulging. Take the Italians, with their plates of pasta drizzled in olive oil and their glasses of red wine raised in toasts. Or the French, savoring flaky croissants and creamy cheeses without a second thought. Or the Japanese, enjoying bowls of ramen or delicate bites of sushi, prepared with care and eaten with mindfulness. These cultures don't just live longer, they live better. Why? Because they eat with pleasure, not guilt. They don't wolf down their meals in a hurry to get to the next task. They sit, they linger, they talk, they taste. They treat eating like the ritual it deserves to be. So let's take a page from their book. If you want the warm, crusty roll fresh from the oven, have it. If you're craving that decadent dessert with the whipped cream on top, dig in. And if someone has the nerve to judge you for it, some self-appointed food police with their unsolicited opinions, Look them square in the eye and tell them you've earned every single bite. Because you have. 4. Sleeping in and taking naps guilt-free. Let's start with another question. How many years of your life have you spent jolting awake to the shrill scream of an alarm clock? How many mornings have you stumbled out of bed, bleary-eyed and groggy, before the sun even had the decency to peek over the horizon? If you're like most people, the answer is far too many. For decades, we've lived our lives tethered to schedules that weren't ours to choose. The blaring 6 a.m. wake-up call for work. The crack of dawn chaos of getting kids out the door. The endless parade of obligations, appointments, errands, deadlines, that always seem to take precedence over something as basic, as human, as rest. And on those rare occasions when we dared to sleep in past sunrise or sneak in an afternoon nap, what did we feel? Not refreshed. Not grateful. Guilty. Lazy. Because that's what we were taught, isn't it? Society drilled it into us. Sleeping too much is a sin, a sign of weakness, a mark of someone who isn't productive enough. Well, let me set the record straight. That's a lie, and it's time we stopped believing it. Sleep isn't laziness, it's survival. It's the foundation of everything that keeps you going. Your brain needs it to process the day, to clear out the mental clutter, to stay sharp, and to stave off the fog that creeps in with age. Your heart depends on it to keep beating steady and strong. Your immune system leans on it to fight off whatever the world throws at you. Your body demands it to repair the wear and tear of living, every ache, every strain, every quiet breakdown. Skimp on sleep and the consequences pile up fast. Your risk of dementia climbs higher with every restless night. Your mood sours, your energy drains, your patience frays. And yet, somehow, we've let ourselves be convinced that pushing through exhaustion is a badge of honor. That getting by on 5 hours a night is something to brag about. Tell me this, when you see a baby curled up in a crib, fast asleep in the middle of the day, do you call them lazy? Do you shake your head and mutter about their lack of ambition? No. You smile and say, they need their rest. So why on earth do we hold ourselves to a different standard? You need your rest too, and there's no shame in that. Now think about what happens as we get older. Sleep doesn't always come as easily as it once did. Maybe it's the ache in your joints that jolts you awake, or the restless legs that won't settle. Maybe it's the racing thoughts that spin through your mind at 3 a.m., refusing to let go. Or maybe it's just that your body's rhythm has shifted, and what used to be a solid 8 hours has fractured into something less predictable. So when your body finally offers you a chance to rest, when it begs you to stay in bed a little longer, to sink into the pillows and let the world wait, why fight it? If you wake up and feel no rush to leap out of bed, don't. Sleep in. Let the morning stretch out slowly and quietly. If the afternoon hits you with a wave of tiredness, find a soft spot, a couch, a chair, your bed, and nap. Not a quick cat nap stolen in secret, but a real, unapologetic nap, the kind that leaves you feeling human again. Some of the healthiest, happiest older adults I've come across have one thing in common. They listen to their bodies. They don't force themselves to soldier through exhaustion just to prove a point. They rest when they're tired, sleep when they need it, and they don't waste a second feeling guilty about it. So go ahead. Pull the covers up on a chilly morning and sleep in until the sun's high. Close your eyes in the afternoon and drift off without a care. Let your body recharge. Let your mind reset. Because one day, when sleep becomes harder to come by, when your body won't let you rest the way it once did, you'll look back and wish you'd given yourself this gift more often. Don't wait until it's too late to realize you deserve it. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. 3. Splurging on things that bring you joy. Take a deep breath and picture this. How many times have you found yourself standing in the aisle of a store, clutching something in your hands, a soft sweater, a sleek new gadget, a beautifully bound book, and felt that little spark of excitement, only to snuff it out with a quiet, "I don't need this"? How many times have you lingered over an item, turning it over in your hands, imagining how it might brighten your day, only to set it back on the shelf with a pang of guilt? Maybe you told yourself it was too expensive, too indulgent, or that you didn't deserve it. Maybe you walked away thinking about the bills, the savings account, or some vague, distant what if that demanded you stay practical. But let's pause right there and dig a little deeper. What are you holding back for? What grand, shining purpose are you reserving all this restraint for? I've seen this story play out more times than I can count. People, good, hard-working people, spend their lives in a constant state of caution. They skip the weekend getaways, they pass on the concert tickets, and they mend their socks instead of buying new ones, all because they're saving up. They tally every penny, they weigh every purchase, and they convince themselves that joy can wait. And then what happens? They reach their later years, their bank accounts plump with untouched funds, and yet they still hesitate. They still say no to the little luxuries, the experiences, the moments that might have lit up their days. Or, in the saddest twist of all, they leave this earth entirely, their dreams unfulfilled, their efforts uncelebrated, and that carefully hoarded money slips into someone else's hands. And do you know what that someone does? They spend it. They book the tropical vacation, they buy the fancy car, and they treat themselves to the things you deny yourself, all without a second thought. Let me be clear. I'm not here to tell you to toss financial wisdom out the window. I'm not suggesting you max out credit cards or ignore the realities of tomorrow. Life requires balance, and there's value in being prepared. But if you've put in the work, if you've paid your dues, built some security, and have the means to treat yourself, why keep saying no? Why keep postponing happiness for a someday that might never arrive? That breathtaking dress hanging in the boutique window, the one that fits you perfectly and makes you feel radiant. Why not take it home and wear it with pride? That mouth-watering dish at the restaurant you've driven past 100 times, the one you've daydreamed about. Why not sit down and savor every bite? That trip you've always wanted to take, whether it's a cruise along the Amalfi Coast, a safari under a starlit sky, or a quiet retreat in a seaside cottage. Why not open your laptop right now and book it? Here's the unvarnished truth. Time is a thief, and it doesn't negotiate. One day, your legs might tremble too much to climb the steep, winding paths of a historic town. One day, your eyes might grow too weary to gaze at the sunset from a mountain peak. One day, your body might refuse to carry you through the adventures you've been promising yourself later. Life isn't a dress rehearsal. It's the real thing, happening right now, and it's shorter than you think. You didn't toil through years of early mornings, late nights, and quiet sacrifices just to sit on a pile of money and watch it collect dust. You worked for more than that. You worked for a life worth living. So go ahead, splurge a little. Buy the painting that speaks to your soul. Upgrade your coffee maker to one that makes every morning feel like a treat. Sign up for that dance class you've always been curious about. And if anyone dares to cast a judgmental glance your way, if they hint that you're being selfish or extravagant, just meet their gaze with a calm, unshakable smile and say, "I've earned this." Because you have, in every sense of the word. 2. Saying exactly what's on your mind. Let's sit with this for a moment and think it through. How many times in your life have you felt words bubbling up inside you? Sharp, honest, raw, and then swallowed them back down. How many conversations have you sat through, your stomach twisting, your mind racing, wanting to say what you think, only to clamp your lips shut because you didn't want to stir the pot? For years, maybe even most of your life, you've played it safe. You've been the diplomat, the one who smooths ruffled feathers, who bites their tongue to avoid conflict. You've let snide remarks slide, you've smiled through gritted teeth, you've agreed when every part of you wanted to disagree, all to keep things comfortable, to keep the peace. You've told yourself it's the noble thing, the mature thing, the kind thing. But let's cut through the noise and ask, who did that silence serve? What did you gain by bottling up your truth? I've had the privilege, or sometimes the heartbreak, of hearing people look back on their lives, especially those in their golden years, and one regret rises above the rest like a haunting refrain: I wish I'd spoken up more. Not, I wish I'd been quieter. Not, I wish I'd avoided more fights. No, it's always about the things they didn't say. The times they let someone's rudeness go unchecked, the moments they stayed silent when their heart begged them to speak, the opportunities they missed to stand tall in their truth. Now, hear me out. I'm not telling you to turn into a bulldozer, trampling over feelings without care. I'm not saying you should start every day looking for a fight or toss civility out the window. There's still a place for grace, for choosing your battles wisely. But after all, you've lived through, after the hard-earned wisdom, the scars, the triumphs, You've earned the right to stop censoring yourself. You've earned the right to let your voice ring out, clear and unapologetic. If something's eating at you, don't let it sit there, festering like a splinter under your skin. Say it. If you're sitting in a room and someone's spouting nonsense you can't stomach, don't just nod along to be polite. Disagree, calmly but firmly. If someone crosses a boundary, disrespects you, or takes you for granted, don't shrug it off like it's nothing. Call them out, not with venom, but with the steady strength of someone who knows their value. People might squirm. They might bristle. They might even push back. But here's the beautiful thing. Even if they don't like it, they'll respect it. They'll see you differently. Stronger, truer, more solid. And more than that, you'll feel it in yourself. You'll stand a little straighter, and breathe a little easier because you're no longer hauling around the weight of unspoken words. But it's not just about the hard stuff, it's about the soft stuff too. How often do we hold back the good things, the tender things, assuming they're already understood? We think our kids know how proud we are of them, that our friends feel how much we treasure them, and that our partner senses the depth of our gratitude. But do they? Have you said it? Said it out loud with your whole heart behind it? Don't wait for a milestone or a crisis to open your mouth. Right now, today, pick up the phone and tell your son how his resilience amazes you. Sit across from your oldest friend and tell them how their loyalty has been a lifeline through the years. Look your spouse in the eye, whether it's been 5 years or 50, and thank them not just for the big gestures, but for the quiet, steady presence that's held your world together. Words matter, and time doesn't wait. Don't assume they know. Don't assume you'll have another day, another month, another year to get it right. Because one day, the clock will stop, and the things you didn't say, the love you didn't share, the truth you didn't speak, will settle into your bones like a cold ache you can't shake. So let go of the filters. Stop worrying about ruffling feathers or sounding too sentimental. Speak now, whether it's a fierce stand or a gentle confession, because life is too fleeting to leave your voice locked away. You've got things to say, and the world, for better or worse, needs to hear them. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment on number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. 1. Prioritizing yourself for once in your life. For the vast majority of your existence, you've placed everyone else's needs ahead of your own. It's almost second nature, isn't it? That's what society drilled into us from the start. Take care of others. Be the dependable spouse, the nurturing parent, the loyal friend, the selfless sibling. It's the unspoken rule we've all followed. Your worth is measured by how much you give to those around you. And sure, there's beauty in that kind of generosity, a quiet nobility in being there for the people you love. But let's pause for a moment and think about it. When was the last time you stopped to consider what you need? How often have you carved out a slice of your day, your week, your life, to focus solely on yourself? Not your children, not your grandchildren, not your partner, not your boss or your neighbors, but you. Take a second to reflect. How many hours, or even minutes, have you dedicated to something that's purely for your enjoyment or fulfillment? Not the family vacation you planned to keep the kids happy, not the dinner you cooked to impress your in-laws, not the errands you ran to lighten someone else's load, but something that feeds your soul. Maybe it's been months. Maybe it's been years. Maybe you can't even remember the last time you did something just because it made you feel alive. And that's the trap, isn't it? You get so caught up in the rhythm of caring for everyone else that you forget you're a person too, with dreams, desires, and a right to happiness that doesn't hinge on anyone else's approval. Here's the hard truth. There's no grand ceremony waiting for you at the end of a life spent in constant self-sacrifice. No one's going to hand you a shiny medal engraved with "World's Most Selfless Human" as a reward for always putting yourself at the bottom of the list. There's no cosmic scoreboard tallying up all the times you said yes to others and no to yourself. And if you keep waiting for the perfect moment to finally prioritize yourself, when the kids are grown, when the grandkids don't need babysitting, when work slows down, when the house is paid off, well, that moment might never come. Time doesn't wait. It's slipping through your fingers right now, while you're busy making sure everyone else's life is running smoothly. So if not now, then when? When do you get to step into the spotlight of your own story? This is your wake-up call. Right now, today, is the time to start chasing what lights you up inside. Dust off that old guitar you used to play before life got too busy. Book that trip to the coast or the mountains or that little town you've always wanted to explore, even if it's just for a weekend. Pull out that half-finished novel you started writing in your 20s, or sign up for that painting class you've been eyeing. Say yes to the things that make your heart beat a little faster, and don't feel guilty about it. Tell yourself, out loud if you have to, I deserve this. I've earned this. Because you have. You've spent decades pouring your energy into others. Now it's time to pour some of that love and attention back into yourself. Of course, not everyone's going to cheer you on. Some people might raise an eyebrow or grumble when you start shifting your focus. They're used to you being the one who's always available, always accommodating, always putting their needs first. And when you stop doing that, it might ruffle some feathers. Maybe your spouse will wonder why you're spending an afternoon at a pottery workshop instead of tackling the laundry. Maybe your kids will be surprised when you say no to yet another last-minute favor because you've already made plans for yourself. But here's the thing, that's not your burden to carry. Their discomfort is their own to wrestle with. You've spent years, decades, even being the rock, the giver, the one who holds it all together. You've paid your dues in spades. Now it's your turn to take up space, to claim your joy, to live a little louder for yourself. So start today. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture, though it certainly can be if you're ready. It could be as simple as brewing a cup of tea and sitting quietly with a book you've been meaning to read, uninterrupted. It could be taking a walk in the park just to feel the sun on your face, no agenda required. It could be splurging on that fancy dessert you'd usually save for someone else, or finally buying that journal you've been eyeing because you want to start writing down your thoughts again. The point isn't the size of the act, it's the intention behind it. It's choosing something, anything, that's just for you, something that sparks a flicker of happiness in your chest. Because you've waited long enough. This is your time now. Seize it. Well, there you have it. The top 5 guilty pleasures you should stop denying yourself and start embracing today before time runs out. I hope this has sparked something in you, a little nudge to savor life a bit more. So, what have you learned so far? I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below this video and tell me one thing you've taken away from this that you'll put into practice in your own life. If you like this video, please leave your comment below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more wisdom to help you live your best life. Until next time, go enjoy what you've earned. You deserve it.